Okay, so if you're unsure like where you are currently in, so you can use the command pwd, so which means print working directory, which shows your current location, right? So now you are currently in the root directory, which means root's home directory, right? So ls, the next command we are just talking about is ls. Ls is used for to list out the files and directories in the current directory. So since there is nothing over here, let's create a file. So if you wanted to create a draft file or the not just a file, you can just give touch the file name, enter. Okay, now I'm giving ls, so you have created a file, right? So if you wanted to create a file which should have to be hidden, right, you have to give it as touch dot I am a hidden file. So this is just the name which I'm giving. Okay, so enter. So if you give ls, the file is still hidden. How? To view the hidden files, you have to give ls hyphen a. Okay, so this shows hidden files with detailed information, right? So we have these many hidden files and directories. So this dot in front of a file directory name or the file name, which will make it as hidden. And if you wanted to look the permissions of the particular file, we have to give ls hyphen l. So here you'll see the file permission of this. We'll come to this. So let's continue with the flow. Let's create a directory. If you wanted to create a directory, we have to give mkdir, the directory name. Let's say, let's give us folder, right? So let me clear the screen. So if you want to clear the screen, you just have to give the clear command or control plus L command. Okay. So now if I wanted to view what is there, we give ls. I have one file and one folder. So if I wanted to go inside that folder, I have to do a cd folder. Okay, so now you can notice that there is a tilde home directory. Inside there is a directory which is folder, right? So if we give pwd, we are in the root directory, root's home directory, and the folder directory. Okay, so now with the help of the cd command, we are just changing the directory, right? So if you wanted to come back, okay, we can just either simply give cd and enter, or you can just give cd with this tilde option, right? Let's get inside the folder and create again a new directory, mkdir test. Get inside the test. So now I am in folder test, right? So how to come back from this test to folder, right? So for that, we are going to do cd dot dot enter. So now we are one step back, right? Let's get inside that. So how did we come back with these two dots? So if you give ls hyphen a for the hidden one, you can see there is two dots which indicates the previous directory and one dot which indicates the current directory. Okay, so let's say ls dot and enter. So it gives the current directories list information. So if you give ls dot dot, it will give the previous directories. Okay, so if you wanted to be inside the same directory, you can just give cd dot. We'll come to that later in this depth details, but here we're just going to give the basic one. Okay, as I have said, if you wanted to create a file, we have to give touch, right? So let's say test1 ls. Let's create another file test2 ls, right? We have two. So if you wanted to create multiple files within a single prompt, single command, we have to give the same test3, test4, test5, right? We got this, isn't it? So if I want to remove any file, I have to give rm tst5. So if I give ls, it's get removed, right? So if I wanted to rename a file, let's say the test4, I should have to rename it as test5. So how do I do that? Just give mv test4, the same name, and you have to give test5. So this is basically the name which it already has, and this is the name which we are going to give, right? So the test4 has become now test5, right? This is simply the renaming conversions. And mv is not only for rename, it is also to move completely. So let's say mkdir tt directory, whatever the name is, ls. So you can able to see that there is a directory. If I give ls.tt, so we're just directly checking what's inside the tt directory. Then nothing is there, right? So what I'm going to do is, let's send this test file to this directory. So what I'm going to do is mv test5 to this tt. So if you give ls, the test5 would have gone where? Inside this tt. So if I give the same command lstt, which means listing the file inside the tt directory, enter. So the file would have been went inside this tt. So if you're not sure, still sure, get inside, give ls. Okay, let's come back. So if I wanted to edit this test one, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give test nano test one, enter. So nano is kind of a text editor. Still, we have multiple text editors are out there. So we have vi, right? We have nano, we have pluma, we have gedit. So we have multiple ones. So in CLI, it is better to use nano, either nano or vi if you are using a GUI like Kali Linux or the Parrot OS and another GUI based Linux versions. You can either use gedit, pluma, or other tools. Okay, so I'm comfortable with both nano and vi, and we'll have separate videos for both nano and vi. So let's take it for this one. If you doesn't have the nano vi, when you give these commands, if you say that no package found or no command found, so what you can do is simply you can give apt update and apt install either nano or the vi. Okay, so this is what you have to give. So then it will ask you the permissions, you just give y, and that's it. You will get your application installed. And you can just simply give nano test1, enter. So here I'm just giving hello test1, and I'm just going to save the file. So control O, enter. Sorry, we're not going to give control O, we're going control S, control X. So control S for save, control X is for exit. Okay, so if I wanted to look at what inside this test1, I have multiple ways. So one way is to just go ahead and look at the test1. Okay, so another method is the commonly we use is cat test1, enter. Okay, we'll come to more into that. So right now we'll stop here, and let's talk about the copy one. Okay, so now we have test1, right? So let's copy the same file and give a different name, test1. Let's give test node, right? Enter. And if you give, we'll have test1 and test node, right? So if I cat the test node, it's the same, right? So if I cat the test2, nothing is there because we haven't edited or modified it, right? If you wanted to remove that, just give remove test node ls. Okay, so let's say if I wanted to remove the directory, what I have to do, first create a directory. Let's create it as t. Okay, so if I wanted to delete this directory, I'm giving rm dea. So it says cannot remove t because it is a directory, right? So what you can do is for this t, rmdir, remove directory, t, enter. So now the t directory is gone because it's got deleted. Now let's do same for rmdir for this tt directory. So it says the directory not empty. So what to do in this case? Either you quit inside and delete the files inside and come back and delete the directory, or you can just simply give rm-rf, remove forcefully for this tt directory, and it just got deleted. Okay, but be sure that when you are using this rf, it's mostly exceptional. Okay, so it will directly delete your files and you can't able to recover it. Okay, so we have another command called history. So history tells us whatever the things that we have implemented, sorry, whatever the things that we have executed, right? So here we can execute, even we can execute. So from history we can also execute the commands directly. So let's say in 155, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give an exclamation and give 155. So it's going to execute the command what we have executed before. So it's executing ls, right? So okay, let's see who am I. So it tells which user I'm in, right? So I'm the root directory, I'm the root person. So if you wanted to look at the host name, the computer's name, we give host name. And if you wanted to look on the date, it's simply the date. Okay, so if you wanted to look at the calendar, we just give cal. So since the cal is not here, so let's install ncal. If we give cal now, so now you got a beautiful calendar, right? So if you wanted to look on the OS information, so you guys can give uname. If you want a detailed one, just give uname -a. So here it says the OS and the host name and the particular version of it and those kind of other things. Okay, so we have multiple commands, so we'll just see each in the different videos. Okay, thank you for watching.